The video message, presented by Dr. Moitkara, a urologist with 30 years of experience, discusses 4 common masturbation mistakes men over 60 often make, habits that can silently harm their health, especially their prostate, energy and sexual vitality. The 4 mistakes: forcing erections or rushing to climax. As men age, their bodies change, and forcing sexual response the same way as in youth can cause tissue damage, irritation, and long-term dysfunction. Using pornography as a sole source of arousal or stimulation from porn rewires the brain, dulls natural arousal, and harms emotional intimacy and real-life sexual satisfaction. Masturbating to frequent ejaculation can deplete energy, lower testosterone, affect sleep, and leave men feeling drained or emotionally flat, especially when not aligned with their body's needs. Neglecting prostate health during self-pleasure positions and habits that strain the prostate, or skipping post-ejaculation urination, can cause inflammation, urinary issues, and chronic discomfort. Conclusion: key takeaways. These mistakes are subtle but cumulative, leading to physical and emotional declines over time. Men are not broken, just uninformed about how aging changes their sexual needs. By slowing down, being more mindful, reducing porn use, and respecting the body's new rhythms, men over 60 can restore pleasure, intimacy, and vitality. It's never too late to change your habits and reclaim control of your health and well-being. If you're over 60, there's one private habit that might be silently destroying your health, and almost no one is talking about it. Masturbation, something most men see as safe and natural, can become harmful with age, not because of the act itself, but because of how your aging body responds to it. It would work in your 30s or 40s could now be slowly damaging your prostate, weakening your erections, and draining your energy in ways you don't even. I'm Dr. Moitkara, a urologist and men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience treating aging malpatients. I've spent decades helping men protect their vitality, recover from sexual dysfunction, and preserve the quality of their lives long after retirement, and I've seen the consequences when these hidden habits get unchecked. Most men assume that if it feels good it must be harmless, but that's the truth. It's not the act of masturbation that's risky, it's the way you're doing it. Certain techniques, frequencies, and triggers can lead to long-term harm that won't show symptoms until it's too late. In this video, I'll reveal the 4 most dangerous masturbation mistakes men over 60 make and how to avoid them. And their 4th mistake, it's the one even your doctor probably hasn't warned you about. Before we begin, if you're serious about protecting your health and staying strong after 60, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss critical advice matters specifically for men like you. And if this message resonates with you, type "on" in the comments. If not, type 0 and let me know how I can better support your journey to better. Let's start with the first and most common mistake, one that many older men make without realizing: forcing an erection or rushing to climax, even when the body is clearly signaling it needs a different approach. Mistake 1. Ignoring erection quality and forcing. Really, I've seen this more times than he can count. An older man sitting across from me, frustrated, confused, and even ashamed. He tells me, "Doctor, it you said to work fine. Now I have to push harder. I force it just to feel something." He doesn't know it, but he's describing the first silent mistake that could be damaging his sexual health in ways that may not be reversible. When you reach your 60s, your body begins to change in subtle but important ways. Blood flow decreases, nerve sensitivity shifts, and hormonal fluctuations make the entire sexual response process slower and more delicate. But many men don't adjust. They try to masturbate the same way they did at 30 or 40. Tight grip, fast motion, and a desperate rush to orgasm. And when it doesn't feel the same, they push even harder, both physically and. The truth is, this can be deeply harmful. Forcing climax when your body isn't ready can cause micro tears in penile tissue, irritate the urethra, and strain muscles around the pelvic floor. Worse yet, it places unnecessary pressure on the prostate, which becomes more fragile with age. I've had patients develop lingering groin discomfort, reduced sensitivity, or chronic inflammation without ever connecting it back to how they masturbate. It's not dramatic or immediate. The damage is low, quiet, and accumulates over time. But what makes this mistake so dangerous is how invisible it is. You don't bleed, you don't bruise. You just slowly start to feel less arousal, less sensation, less confidence, and so you push harder again and again until your body can't keep up. That's when deeper problems emerge, like erectile dysfunction, prostate swelling, or even urinary troubles that interrupt your sleep and independence. If any of this feels familiar, know this: it's not your foe, and you're not alone. Most men were never taught that after 60, sexual activity needs to be approached with care, presence, and respect for Thibode's new rhythm. You're not doing it wrong, you just need to do it differently. Instead of forcing your body to respond, learn to listen to it. Use slower, more intentional movements. Focus on sensation, not just release. Let arousal build naturally with it. And above all, treat your body not as a machine to fix, but as a part of you to understand, because when you finally start pushing and start paying attention, everything begins to change. And that brings us to the next mistake, one that doesn't just affect your body but rewires your brain in ways that can sabotage real connection and lasting pleasure. Mistake 2. Using pornography as the only stimulus. I still remember the look on a patient's face when I asked him about his habits. He was 67, well-educated, and trying to understand why his desire for real intimacy had vanished. He told Doctor, "I don't feel anything none unless I'm watching something line, and even then, it's not like itis." To be that quiet admission, spoken with a mix of confusion and shame, is a me thing I've heard from countless, and it often points to one of the most overlooked but damaging habits after 60, using pornography as your sole source of sexual stimulation. At this stage of life, your brain doesn't process stimulation the same way it once did. High-speed, high-intensity content overstimulates their word centers of the brain, flooding it with dopamine in ways that real-life intimacy simply can't match. Over time, your nervous system adapts. It becomes sensitized. What used to bring you pleasure now feels dull. What used to excite you now barely gets a response. You start chasing more extreme content, longer sessions, more frequent use, and all the while, your brain's natural ability to enjoy touch, connection, and yourself begins to fade. This isn't about morality, it's about biology. The overuse of pornography at an older age silently picks away at your sexual vitality. It triggers your reward system, making it harder to respond to your partner, harder to find satisfaction in physical touch, and harder to feel that sense of that real intimacy provides. That you may start feeling more isolated, emotionally disconnected, even depressed, and not understand the deeper harm is emotional as much as physical. I've had men in tears telling me they no longer feel like themselves. They miss the days when desire came naturally, when they could enjoy a moment of closeness without needing a screen. The saddest part is many of them never knew that this habit done in private could have such public consequences in their relationships, their confidence, and their overall well-being. But it's not too late to change. Your brain is incredibly adaptable even after 60. With time and intention, you can retrain your mind to respond to real-world connection. Start by reducing screen use, using memory, fantasy, or even reading to reawaken your inner world. You'll be amazed at how much life returns when you stop numbing at. And as we look deeper, there's another mistake that's just as quiet, but even more physically draining. In fact, it might be the very reason someone wake up exhausted, lose interest in life, and can't figure out why their energy keeps fading. Mistake 3. Masturbating too frequently for your age and energy levels. He sat quietly for a moment, finally asking, "Is it possible I'm doing it too often?" He was 71, in decent health, but constantly tired, irritable, and unable to focus. His sleep had worsened, and his motivation to do the things he once enjoyed, gardening, biking, even socializing, was fading. He thought it might be age. Beautified. Digging deeper, we discovered something else. He was masturbating almost daily, sometimes more than once a day, thinking it was helping him relax. In truth, it was silently draining him. There's an idea many men carry through life, that ejaculation is always healthy, always a release. And while that might have been mostly true in your 30s or 40s, your body after 60 plays by different rules. Your hormonal recovery slows, your nervous system takes longer to reset, and your energy, once easily replenished, becomes a more persistent. Frequent ejaculation, especially when you're tired, bored, or stressed, doesn't calm the body. It depletes it, and the cost adds up. What's most dangerous is how quietly this mistake unfolds. You don't notice it after one time or even 5, but over weeks or months, you might start waking up groggy. Your drive fades, your mood drops, and you chalk it up to aging. In reality, your body is signaling that it needs to conserve more, not expend more. Masturbating too often when your system is already taxed can lead to testosterone dips, disrupted sleep, and even strain on your prostate, contributing to urinary urgency and nighttime awakenings. I'm not saying you need to stop altogether. In fact, some level of sexual expression is healthy at any age, but it must be aligned with your body's current rhythm, where once you could bounce back in hours, now you may need days. The key is listening, not pushing. For some, cutting back to once or twice a week brings a noticeable boost in energy, clarity, and emotional balance. Others explore forms of stimulation that don't always end in ejaculation, giving them connection without deletion. When you stop treating your body like a machine and start treating it like a wise, responsive partner, everything shifts. You regain strength, not by doing more, but by doing less with more care. But if this mistake drains your body, the next one targets something even more vulnerable, your prostate. And what most men don't realize is that how you treat this tiny gland during and after self-pleasure could shape your comfort, your bladder control, and your long-term health in ways you never expected. Mistake 4: ignoring prostate health during self-pleasure. I'll never forget the patient who commuted me with a subtle complaint. Nothing sharp or sudden, just a nagging sense of pressure after climax and a feeling like was never fully relieved. He was 68, active, relatively healthy, but uncomfortable in a way he couldn't quite explain at first. He didn't connect it to his solo habits. "I've always done it this way," he said. And that's exactly what made this mistake so dangerous. It was silent, familiar, and slowly wearing down one of the most soul-sensitive parts of his body, his prostate. After 60, the prostate becomes more vulnerable. It's a small gland, but its role in male health is enormous. During masturbation, especially if done while sitting in a slouched position or applying pressure to the perineum, that prostate can become inflamed or irritated without you even realizing it. Add to that a habit of skipping post-ejaculation urination, something men to overlook, and you have a perfect storm for lingering inflammation, discomfort, or even chronic prostatitis. The danger here isn't just occasional ache, it's the build-up. Over time, this quiet strain can interfere with bladder control, causing urgency, weak flow, or more frequent nighttime trips to the bathroom, humanitis, a burning sensation during urination, a heaviness in the pelvic floor, or a general feeling of tension that never quite goes away. And yet, most men don't think to trace these symptoms back to how they touch themselves. They blame age, diet, or just assume it's part of getting older, but it's not. You have more control than you think. Small change like urinating after climax 2, flush urethra, adjusting your position to reduce pressure, and being more mindful of how often and how forcefully you stimulate can make a protecting your prostate isn't just about preventing disease. It's about preserving comfort, confidence, and control in your daily life. I've seen men in their 70s regain peace in their bodies just by learning to treat their prostate with a little more care. It doesn't require medication or radical change, just awareness and a willingness to adapt. And now that you understand how these four silent habits can chip away at your health, it's time to bring it all together. Because knowing the mistakes is one thing, but learning how to rebuild strength, sensitivity, and satisfaction after 60, that's where real transformation begins. Let's talk about what you can do starting to the conclusion. If you've made it this far, I want to tell you something directly from one man to another. You're not broken, you're in it behind, you're not alone. That changes you may be noticing in your body, the slower response, the lower energy, the quiet discomfort, are not signs of weakness. They're signals your body is talking to you. And for too long, we've been taught to ignore those signals, to just keep doing things the way we always have. But after 60, those same old routines can silently start working against you. You've now seen the four most common mistakes older men make when it comes to self-pleasure. The first, forcing release without a strong direction, may seem like a harmless workaround, but in truth, it's a repeated insult to tissue that needs gentleness and care. The second, relying on pornography as your only source of arousal quietly your brain dulls real-life intimacy and steals from your deeper capacity for connection. Third, masturbating too frequently without regard for your body's energy limits drains your system in ways that can leave you feeling weak, foggy, or emotionally flat. And the fourth, neglecting your prostate's health during and after self-pleasure, invites slow, hidden inflammation that chips away at your urinary comfort and long-term back. These aren't dramatic headline-making mistakes. They don't knock on the door with pain or panic. They creep in subtly, slowly, until one day you wake up and wonder where your strength went, where your desire went, where your desire went, where you went. And I say this not from a place of judgment, but from deep compassion. I've had these conversations with hundreds of men who felt confused, ashamed, or just scared of not feeling like themselves. Some of them are in tears by the time they admit what they've been dealing with, feeling numb, disconnected, or just less alive. These are men who built careers, raised families, served their communities, and yet no one ever told them that the way they take care of themselves behind closed doors could have such a lasting impact on how they feel in the world. So, let me be the one to tell you, your sexual health still matters, your energy, your comfort, your ability to feel pleasure and connection, it all still matters, but it requires a new kind of attention, not the hard-driving, fix-it-with-force kind, the listening kind, the gentle, curious, respectful kind. You may need to relearn how to touch yourself in ways that nourish rather than deplete. You may need to experiment with slowing down, letting go, build gradually and allow you and your body to guide the pace. You might benefit from cutting back, not out of shame, but as a gift to your nervous system. You might discover that real pleasure doesn't always come from climax, but from presence, patience, and reconnecting with yourself. This is about far more than the mistakes. It's about claiming a new chapter of life that's defined not by decline, but by wisdom. You've lived through decades of pressure, performance, and pushing forward. Now your body is offering you something different, an invitation to go deeper, not harder, to understand yourself more fully, to redefine masculinity. Not a strength without softness, but a strength with sensitivity. And the beautiful part is change is possible at any age. I've seen men in their 60s, 7 south, even 80s, come back into themselves, feeling more aware, more alive, and more connected to their bodies than they ever were in their youth. All it takes is a willingness to adapt, and to stop doing things that no longer borrow. If you've recognized yourself in any of these 4 mistakes, take a moment right now not to judge yourself, but to thank your body for speaking up. And then commit gently but firmly to doing things differently. You don't need to overhaul your entire routine overnight. Just start with one small change. Maybe it's giving yourself more time, choosing a different posture, skipping the screen, or simply asking, what does my body need today, rather than how fast can I finish. This isn't just about sex. It's about your quality of life. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself that may have felt lost or quieted. It's about building a new relationship with your body, one rooted in wisdom, care, and self-respect. So, as we close this conversation, I want you to walk away with more than information. I want you to walk away with a new mindset. You are still a sexual being. You are still capable of pleasure. You are still allowed to explore, enjoy, and evolve. But now you do it with intention, with clarity, with power that comes not from force but from understanding. The 4 mistakes we've discussed don't have to define you. They can be moments of awareness that open the door to better health, better connection, and a deeper sense of self. Don't wait for a crisis to make a change. Start today in small conscious steps. Your future self will thank you for it. And if this message resonated with you, I hope you'll stick around, because in the next guide we're going to explore specific strategies to help you boost your erections, support your prostate, and reignite your energy after 60 without pills, gimmicks, or shame. You won't want to miss it. If this message spoke to you or helped you see things in a new light, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with a friend who might need it, and help more men take control of their health after 60. Every share could be the start of someone else.